you ever heard of reverse mortgages? This can be a great vehicle, kind of complicated to understand, but that's what I'm talking about today. Stick around. Hi, welcome back. My name's Joe Brown. I'm a realtor with Century 21 List with Beggins located in South Tampa. Thank you so much for being here with me today. So in the introduction, I said we're going to talk about reverse mortgages, and we will. So let's keep in mind that since 2019 to current, people have gained a lot of equity in their home. That is, if they've owned their home since before 2020, right? But home prices in the Tampa area have gone up 30% or more since that time. So the equity people have in their home is greatly increased. Now, and because of that, and because of current interest rates, sellers don't want to sell their house. Even though there's a lot of equity, if they sell their house, where are they going to go? And if you think about some of the older people, and I put myself in that mix, right? Saying, I just want to stay in my house. But they have bills that are coming up. And maybe it's medical bills or maybe repairs of the house. And they say, how can I get the money to pay for that? Well, a reverse mortgage is one option. So I've prepared a series of slides that I want to share with you. And instead of my typical putting them there, I'm going to miniaturize myself. Have you ever seen the movie, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids? I'm going to shrink myself and highlight the slide as we go through, okay? So just give me a second to miniaturize myself and put the first slide up there. Okay, you ready? So there are some criteria to qualify for a reverse mortgage. And number one, you have to be at least 62 years old. Number two, you have to have substantial equity in your home. And when I say substantial, maybe you have no mortgage at all, or just very little mortgage. So if you owe 80% of your mortgage, chances are you are not going to qualify for a reverse mortgage. You have to have substantial equity in your home. The house has to be your primary residence. It can't be a second home, can't be an investment home. It has to be your primary residence. Lenders, and I'm going to talk about lenders later, but lenders are going to look at your credit history, your age, the condition of the house. They're going to look at income requirements. Because as the lendee, have you heard that term before? The lendee, whoever takes the loan out, is still going to have to pay property taxes and homeowners insurance, right? That they're still going to have to afford that. So let's go to the second slide. And this is how it works, right? That the lender will evaluate your home, figure out how much equity you have, and then they will give you that money for your use. And then it is a loan, right? It's not, they're giving you this money because it's yours. They are giving you a loan, but it's being backed by the collateral is the equity in your house. Now, the loan is paid back when you sell that house. When do people sell the house? Sometimes it's when the person dies, right? So the person dies, beneficiaries, they sell the house, and then they have to repay that loan. So I jumped ahead, but let's go to this third slide. When I said the lender will give you a loan, there's three ways to do it, right? One is a lump sum, whatever equity it is. So let's say it's 200,000, 300,000. They will give you the lump sum. Number two is they will pay you in monthly installments. So if you say, I just need $5,000 a month. So then each month, that $5,000 goes against your loan. It increases the amount you have to pay back. A third option is you just get a line of credit. So let's say it's $300,000. The lender says you have a $300,000 line of credit. Well, you may never touch that line of credit. And so there's nothing to pay back. However, that line of credit is available should you need it, right? So three options to pay it back. But then that will take us to the fourth slide, and we're going to talk about heirs or beneficiaries. I talked about this a minute ago. When do these houses sell? And typically it's when the person dies, right? Now, it could very well be the lendee, whoever gets the loan, decides to sell the house before they die. And if that happens, then the loan is paid back from the proceeds. And here's what happens with the heirs, because this is a common misconception. Some people think, oh, if I do a reverse mortgage, the bank owns the house. Well, no, the house is still owned by you, the lendee. Maybe you're not the lendee, but whoever takes the loan, right, is the owner of the house. So if the lendee dies, then the beneficiaries they have two options. They can say, we want to keep the house. Well, to keep the house, they have to pay the loan back in full. So let's say at that point, the loan amount is $50,000, $60,000, whatever it is. The beneficiaries can say, we are going to pay that loan back. And then they keep the house. The second option is they can sell the house, and then whatever the proceeds are from the sale of the house, they pay the loan back. And then whatever is left over from the proceeds of the house are part of the estate that goes to the beneficiaries. Okay? So the loan is paid back when the house is sold. I have a caution about that, but first I want to share with you just the pros of this program, right? It is a way for people who want to stay in their house, but may not have the income ability to pay for, let's say it's a new roof or plumbing issues, or I want to, maybe not need, I want to remodel the kitchen, right? But they have to have money to do that. So the reverse mortgage is a way they can tap the equity in their house and still protect the house for their beneficiaries and so forth. Let me go back. When I talked about the line of credit, that is a very good option, because if you access the line of credit, well, then the equity, because if home prices keep going up, then equities keep going up. Maybe to the extent that you're accessing the line of credit. That's just a side thought. Now, I gave you a pro, but there are a couple cautions. These aren't cons. I'm getting to cons in a second, but these are some cautions. Number one, be sure to ask for a non-recourse loan. Non-recourse loan. So imagine this scenario. You take a reverse mortgage, And let's say it's $300,000. So over time, you access that money and you access that money. Maybe you take a lump sum of $300,000. I keep saying you, but you know what I mean. Then the lendee passes away. And now it's time for the heirs to sell the house. And the house sells for $280,000. Well, wait a second. They took loans for $300,000, but the house only sold for $280,000. So there's a $20,000 gap. A non-recourse loan says the beneficiaries do not need to pay that difference. Okay? I'll say that again. A non-recourse loan says the beneficiaries do not need to pay the difference if there is a shortfall between the proceeds of the sale and the loan amount. Caution number 2, there is cost associated with a reverse mortgage. It's not that you can just go to a lender and say, I want a reverse mortgage, and they start paying you. The reverse mortgage is a lender. It is a financial institution. And so if let's say you're buying a house for the first time and you take a loan, there's something called loan origination fees. Same thing with a reverse mortgage. There are loan origination fees. They're going to want an appraisal. The lender's going to want a home inspection. You're going to have title insurance. You're going to have mortgage insurance. And all these costs add up. And it could very well be 6% of the value of the house. It could be more. A lot of that depends on the lender, right? So this is just not a very easy, start getting this money. It's a process, and it can be expensive. Now, if you say, well, I can't pay for that, well, lenders will say, oh, we'll just add that into part of the loan. So if it's 6%, so let's say it's $300,000, 6% is $18,000. Well, you're already borrowing $18,000 from the loan, right, towards this program, which means that's $18,000 less equity that you can tap into for your needs. A third caution, and I need to change the slide here. So again, who qualifies for reverse mortgages? You have to be at least 62 years old. There is a lot of scams against elderly. So there are stories. You have to be cautious, right? There are stories of repairmen coming to a house saying, oh, you need new plumbing work done, or you need a new roof. Oh, you can't pay for that? Well, you know what? We can just file some paperwork here and tap the equity of your house to pay for it. Listen, don't fall for it. Be super cautious, right? Talk to advisors, but before you do any of that. So now I've talked about pros. I gave you some cautions. Let me talk to you about some cons, right? Why this may not be a good option for you. Number one is it can be expensive. And the interest rate that lenders charge are higher than other rates, right? There are fees associated with it. There's interest rates. And the interest rate may be higher than a typical loan. I'm not saying in all cases, but it can be. And with the con, I put this here, I put it under cons. It's really more of advice. Maybe taking a home line of equity. So let me clarify. through the reverse mortgage process, you can get a line of equity, right? However, outside of reverse mortgage, you can go to a lender and get a line of equity on your home. That may be a better option, again, depending on rates. They may not have all the origination fees required by the reverse mortgage. So there are different vehicles out there. So here's some advice for you. So number one, if you are thinking that you want to pursue a reverse mortgage, talk to a financial advisor. And I'm not saying call a reverse mortgage person and talk to one of them. Do not do that. But because they want to sell you the product in general, right? That's their job, is to sell the product. Talk to a financial advisor. Financial advisors should be aware of reverse mortgages. And they can tell you whether a reverse mortgage is proper and appropriate for your situation. Because listen, reverse mortgages may be right for some people, not all people, but for some people. And number two, if you want to pursue a reverse mortgage, just don't call one lender. Talk to several lenders, because their fees that they charge are different. The rates they're going to charge are different. So shop for the best rate. It's the same advice I give to buyers I work with, and they're getting a mortgage. I say, talk to several lenders, right? And then I want to give you this resource. There is a reverse mortgage lender out there called Premier Reverse Mortgage. But their website, they have several guides available for the reverse mortgage. One, it talks about how the program works. There's one just for frequently asked questions. I want to say they had 5 different guides available for free. So that's what you see here is a website to the Premier Reverse Mortgage, and you can access the guides. So listen, this has a lot of information. Yes, reverse mortgages may be right for some people in some situations. For other people, it may not be right. The best person to talk to is a financial advisor, right? Don't talk to me. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just advising you this product's out there. It might be right for you. It might not be right for you. I want you to be able to trust me as a real estate advisor, right? So I give you options. I give you knowledge. May be right, may not be best for you. So reach out to me, joebrownc21.com. Go to my website. There's tons of information. In fact, in a week or two, I'll put a blog about this on my website. You can access. Share this video with friends and family who may be able to use this product or have talked about using this product, okay? In a couple weeks, I'm going to give my market update for February. Some very interesting things are happening. I'm not saying good things. I'm just saying interesting things. Until next week, take care.